Hi, good morning, and welcome to the May Summit School District Spotlight. I'm Kirsten Anderson, Director of Communications for Summit School District, and I'm here with Board President Consuelo Redhorse and Board Vice President Lisa Webster. Thank you so much for being here today.
Good morning, and thank you.
We are here to recap the May 15th board meeting, which was last night, where they were there till about 10 p.m., and it's 8 a.m. the next morning. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We are so lucky to have such passionate, dedicated board members who spend so much of their time making our school district better for our community and our kids. So thank you both.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of other wonderful people and within our system, last night we celebrated some pretty special people. Can you talk about the retirees that we spotlighted?
Yes, it was fantastic.
It was.
I think that spotlights are, in general, they're my favorite part of board meetings. And last night we really had a great opportunity and honor to recognize the amazing contributions of some retirees from our school district. I would say before we have a list of names here that we'll share. And what's exciting as well is, many of them are going off into real retirement, but some of them we actually get to have back. So for an extra year. So that's also exciting to be able to have their longevity and their knowledge and their experience with the students and the staff. Again, really just to make things so much better for our school district.
Yep. And we had, I will say, they brought their cheering squads with them. There's lots of clapping and cheering in the audience as we were honoring 11 of our retirees in our district.
Yes, so we started off at the high school. We honored Sharon Jacobson Speedy, who is in art for 18 years, as well as Christy McLean, who wore her yearbook shirt and who has been so instrumental in I would say, keeping that legacy of students and student involvement and leadership in journalism alive here at Summit High School. So she was here for, we're not sure, 22 to 23 years. So that was a really great opportunity. Doug Blake, co-principal from here, also spoke. And each of the supervisors of these retirees spent some time sharing about the special things that they've contributed to our schools. So then we next had Kara Drake, our Chief Financial Officer, honor Alicia Bowles-Fry, who has been the payroll general ledger coordinator, making sure that people get paid on time, things are accurate, taxes are filed. So a really, really, really big job for all the employees in Summit School District, and she's been doing that for 23 years.
And she wants to bet. Are you going to tell this story, Lisa?
No, well, I was just going to add that she had done some math, and she had processed over 17,000 W-2s over her time.
It's amazing. And one time she broke her leg and was like approving payroll from the hospital bed. So really dedicated people.
Right.
Yeah, dedicated people for sure.
So Louise, she honored our Kirsten Gilb, who is one of our speech language pathologists, and Kristen has worked in Summit High School around the district in this, and she will be back. She will be one of the ones who will be back with us next year, which we're very grateful for.
Yeah.
Next we had Alice. So Alice Dudley, the administrative assistant at Silverthorne Elementary. And the administrative assistants at all the schools that I've ever been in are always called the boss of the school.
Yes,
so we
so
have
true.
the principals. However, it's the face that you see when you come into the school. There was, so many responsibilities, making sure that they know all the kids' names, all the staff's names. They are just the face of the school, really. And so Principal Johnson was there to say some kind words about her. And she is another one that I believe that we're lucky to have again next year to help ease that transition, because it's such a big job. It's such a big job.
Yeah. And then Jim Smith was here to honor Jen Wollnitz, who is a counselor at Snowy Peaks. She's been with the district for over 18 years, or will be 18 years when she departs our stead. But she was a key organizer towards our Snowy Peaks High School. And we wish her luck as she goes into private practice, serving adults in our community.
Yes. And then we also had Bruce Heath, who's a facilities technician in the maintenance department for over 20 years. So he's been there making sure that our kids and our buildings are safe. And that is something, I had an opportunity to visit facilities recently, and they do a lot of work. They're not seen,
No.
They're not in the spotlight, but if they were not there doing the work, as well as Bruce, doing the work that maintains our facilities, our kids would not be able to take advantage of the wonderful educational opportunities in their classrooms.
Right.
So yeah, that was a really great opportunity. We also had some retirees that were not able to attend. I didn't mention, Jennifer Hagberg, who is an English teacher at Summit High, and she was also recognized by co-principal Doug Blake. We also had Kathy Amsbaugh, and I know that you have a lot of experience, I feel, with her. You could probably say some.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kathy Amsbaugh has been integral to our Gifted and Talented program, and as well as an IB. I don't think the term is coordinator for her, but she helped with all the coaches in that realm, which has a lot of overlap with how GT approaches education for those different thought learners. And yeah, she's been with Summit for 32 years. Yeah.
She's great. We're doing she's helping lead some really amazing work and a lot of transitions over the years.
Right.
And then we also recognize Shelly Martinez, who is at Dillon Valley Elementary. She's an ELD teacher and instructional support, so does a lot of amazing work there.
And I was super lucky to have my kids with Miss Martinez, and she also does a ton of work with the VEX Robotics program as a coach for that club, and it's so cool. They just had their competition last week, I think, and so it's really cool to see the passion that she ignites in the students.
Yes. And our final retiree that we recognized was Patricia Bowers, the health para at Frisco Elementary. And my daughter went to Frisco Elementary years and years ago, and I know Miss Bowers from being Girls on the Run. So she helped with that program for so many years, on top of just, I want to say just being health para, but on top of being in the nurse's office. She did so many other things around the building. I think lots of just so many of these jobs are not just one focus. They really help pick up and support students from everywhere. So it was a really, really great opportunity just to recognize all of these retirees. We got to hear some great words from them as well. It was amazing hearing their reflections.
Lisa, talk about the gifts that they got, because this was
Oh,
your
sure.
thought.
So they received an orchid and, of course, a thank you note. But we also had a stamped steel apple with a heart cut out, and then we had engraved their names as well as the number of years that they served in Summit. And I hope they throw it on their tree or hang it somewhere where they can see it and be proud.
They were really cool. So talking about strong relationships, we also had Liz Waddick from the Colorado Education Association give us an update, and this is something that's new this year and also just leads into a stronger relationship with our union and the work that we've been doing this year. Talk a little bit about that update and that relationship.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Sure. So, she laid out that CEA's focus, of course, is to retain and recruit high-quality educators in the state of Colorado. And 3 subsets of that is to increase funding, and we do have some structural issues in our great state of Colorado that prevents us from keeping revenue to provide services. And another point was healthcare, because we are a high-cost healthcare state in our nation, and how do we amend that? There is a health survey going around through CEA, Colorado Education Association, which is our teachers association, through CASE, Colorado Association of School Executives, which is our superintendent association, as well as CASB, which is our association, the Colorado Association of School Boards, to determine what are some factors that we can focus on to improve healthcare costs in our state? She had one more, which I'm drawing a blank.
Which was collective bargaining.
Thank you.
So, collective bargaining is, it really supports all of our staff and all of our students here in Colorado. And so it's making sure, providing the opportunity for all school districts to engage in collective bargaining. It helps our staff be happier, stay longer, get better pay. And, we speak a lot about it in board meetings, and, it's also tied to funding is, lots of these structural issues within our school funding in Colorado doesn't allow, or it doesn't make it easy for school districts to pay teachers as the professionals that they are. And that doesn't just, it's not just teachers, it's many, many members of our school staff community. And so it's being able to ensure, we are fortunate to have a really great relationship with our local union, which is the Summit County Education Association, which is part of the larger CEA, the state level. But not all teachers, not all school districts have recognized collective bargaining units. And so it's really important to the CEA on the state level to make sure that all teachers have that ability to have a collective voice and be able to have a spot in the room.
Yeah. Power and collective action for sure, as we saw in the day of action.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, the third session that we're going to talk about is the public comments from last night. And we did hear from quite a few people, and then we had some letters submitted. So tell me about what you heard.
I can start. So in person, we had several educators advocate for an MLO, which is a mill levy override within our district, to improve teacher pay, because we know in Summit this is not just for school district employees, but for everyone who lives here, that our cost of living is outpacing wages, right? So we have advocacy from our teacher group for our staff to put forward an MLO for more teacher pay. I would just also say, we are capped with MLO or mill levy override capability based off of our formula. So, how much we can actually do to that and how much we want to do towards that effort, they are challenging situations.
Absolutely. And you guys have had a little bit of discussion about that. And of course, it's a really interesting time in our community and across the nation with the landscape. And so talk a little bit about what your discussion was and what you're thinking in terms of timing for an MLO, or even like bond discussions, and like a little bit about what that process might look like.
You mean?
So I can say right now for bond, we're not looking again. Right now what we're hearing from our community feedback, and again, I'm glad this whole section is about community and the importance of hearing their voices. The economy is hard right now. Things are expensive. Taxes are high. Here in Summit and in Colorado, we've seen, it's great if you're selling your house. We've seen our market values go up, with that, our assessed values are higher. And so, we're paying more on the local level for education, which is a really big piece of our state taxes and our property taxes. And so it's tough right now. And so, we need to make sure that we have the ability to have that community support for district use and to support our staff and our students.
Right.
And so at least on the bond level, we'll be waiting not this fall, but we're going to be looking into the future. And again, with the unknown political landscape, unknown economic landscape, taxes, we're really going to keep our eye on it and just keep feeling the pulse and see where our community is leaning and doing some more engagement to find out more specifics about some of the needs of the community as they relate to additional funding for our schools.
Right. And I want to dive a little bit deeper on the funding piece. Our school finance formula, it basically caps our ability for providing revenue to our general fund. And when Consuelo is talking about more of our taxes going towards education here locally, it means that we are paying more towards the formula cap, and the state is paying less.
Yes.
So it's a ratio that shifts. So if our assessed values went down, we would get more backfill for the same end amount of money for school districts to spend.
Thank you so much for that, because that is a question we get all the time, a common misunderstanding. More taxes doesn't mean more money for the school.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
what else did we hear?
So we received a written comment from a community member in Breckenridge, and right now we got communications out that bus applications are open, and so this is part of that conversation. Again, limited by funds and staffing, and it's concerns about bus routes being able to continue to provide the same level of getting students from the Breckenridge area over to Dillon Valley Elementary, which is something that has been done, from what I understand, for many years, to be able to, at Dillon Valley, specifically because they're a dual language school, providing the right ratios between English speakers and Spanish speakers so that the learning is makes sense, so that they can learn from each other. And so we heard, we received one written comment prior to that, and I believe probably during the meeting we received a bit more, and so we'll be making sure that all the board members are aware of that. And there's similar themes, concerns and completely valid concerns. We'll be making sure that Dr. Bird, our superintendent, is being able to address them as well. And he's really, as the way that the board and the superintendent relationship works on a really broad level is the board has one employee, and that is Superintendent Dr. Bird. And so we really deal with kind of the broad strategic policy level decisions. We're representatives. We are responsible also for hearing from community members and making sure that their concerns are getting to the right direction. So if they're telling them to us, we make sure that we can lead them towards a person that can actually solve their problem. Many times it's back to their teacher or their principal or the transportation department, and also making sure that Superintendent Dr. Bird is also getting that information well so that he can manage on the operational level. And so Dr. Bird really handles all of the operational pieces. So we're making sure that he's getting that information as well. But we really, I would say what's really, really important with public comment, and we encourage so many people to do, is to keep is to keep being involved. The more that we can hear your stories and how the implementation of policies is affecting families and students and community members, that helps us get a really good idea as a full board of what we need to be hearing. And some of those decisions, things that we remember as we're making decisions going into the future, those stories are important. And so, I encourage people to continue making their public comments. It's a little bit weird because it is bureaucratic, because people come in and they can share, the most passionate comment, and the way that we need to do things in a board meeting is really just to listen. So during public comment, we are there to listen. we can put things on a future agenda. We've tried to create a space for after public comments for board and superintendent comments to be able to reflect on that a little bit. But because of our public notice requirements and statute requirements, we cannot add an agenda item that is not already noticed to the public. So again, we really appreciate it. We hear all of it and we take it to heart as we're making decisions.
Right.
Thanks for that clarification. Yeah.
And I will also add that, and board comment can, or I'm sorry, not board comment, but public comment can be done virtually as well as in person. So you don't have to be necessarily at the meeting. And you can also, our contact information for the board is on the website under the About tab under the menu. So that's another avenue of, as Consuelo mentioned, we did receive emails. So that's another avenue that we can be contacted through.
Yes, use those channels,
Yes.
use the Zoom. You can be participating from the comfort of your own home. And, one thing is certain is that we thrive on connection.
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to you with some of the meat and potatoes of the meeting last night, talking about the budget, talking about negotiations, and talking about housing.